Hey everyone, welcome back to Contractor Growth Network. I'm Logan Shinholster, owner here, and we're actually going to be starting a new segment of this podcast. So what we're going to be doing is here as a digital marketing agency, we are, whether we like it or not, we're forced to stay very, very, very up to date as far as what is working and what's not working in not just the marketing world, but especially the digital marketing world as it pertains to the clients that we serve, which is residential contracting companies. What we do and what we end up doing here at our company, CGN, is internally we use Slack, but we send messages back and forth to each other with, hey, have you read this new latest thing that Google just came out with? What do you think about it? How does this impact what we do for clients? Things like that. So we have internally been, keeping very up to date with things since the inception of CGN, which was about 6 years ago at this point. It's because realistically, nobody here at CGN, our team's 15 people right now, none of us have the bandwidth necessarily to figure everything out in the digital world, but there's a lot of really smart people out there that what they do is they test one very, very minute individual thing to see the impact of it, and then they either write a newsletter or a blog post on it or record a video and say, this is what we found, and then we get to take all that information and go, which ones are going to be the most relevant to our clientele, which ones are we going to use, how are we going to do it, things like that. And with this podcast, what we're going to start to do is on a weekly basis is bring to you the things that are very impactful in our world, meaning the things that you should really care about from a marketing perspective for your contracting company. The lens that I'm going to use for this is I'm not going to come at you with necessarily gossip around the marketing world or things that are super technical that are not really applicable, but it's going to be a combination of things that you should be aware of, whether it's, hey, you need to update these things within your marketing strategy, or it's, hey, this is not a thing yet, but this is kind of the direction that Google is going to be taking, this certain feature of theirs, and this is what you need to be aware of over the next 6 to 12 months. So that's what we have here, and that's what this podcast is going to start to infuse in. We'll still have other podcasts, other guests, things that are still, relevant and fun and entertaining to you, but instead of us over here at CGN simply just getting all this information, testing it, seeing what works, what doesn't work, we're also now going to be talking to you, our audience, about the latest and greatest in the world of marketing and digital marketing pertaining to you. So let's go ahead and we're going to jump in. So the first thing that is happening that it's starting to become a thing is Google is starting to unveil, and right now it's still in beta, what they have is their search generative experience. And long story short, what that really means is if you've played with ChatGPT, which is a chatbot that you can type a question in and it'll give you the answer back, and it's using all AI. Well, Bing has already started to do this, but Google is starting to roll out that feature where when you go in and do a Google search and you type in, restaurant near me, instead of them pulling up all these different searches, they're actually allowing you to chat into this chatbot, which will then return your search for you. It's not widespread yet, so you're most likely not seeing it unless for some reason you're in the beta version. But what this really means for you as a contracting company is right now when you type in, let's say, remodeler near me, they're going to pull up the normal responses in the map like they typically do. But if you now want to expand how many companies that you're seeing as a consumer, you then would have to type back in, and maybe you say, only show me the companies that have 4.5-star reviews or above. Or maybe you're saying, no, I don't like those options. Give me somebody else. But what I think is really going to happen here is the consumer the person searching is going to be able to put their own criteria in and say, I want to see companies that are remodeling companies with at least 50 reviews, at least at a 4-star average. They've, on their website say that they've done at least 50 projects of my type. And essentially what people are now going to be able to do is say, in my mind, and this is not definitive as far as Google saying, but people are going to now really say what their own buying criteria is going to look like. So what that means for you right now, whether it's true or not, you should really be doing this, is you want to be able to start to put out more content to build up that authority in the eyes of Google. But when it comes to reviews and collecting reviews and having them, really put an emphasis on it because they already have it on a lot of like shopping websites as well, where you can say, show me the different options on Amazon of this rice cooker, but only show me things that are Amazon Prime and 4.5 stars and above. So I think that's going to be a big thing moving forward is people are now going to be able to use their own criteria to say, Google, this is who I want you to show me. So the more that you can really focus on building your brand, getting those reviews in, talking about what you're really doing on your website and educating people, that is going to bode very well if this does in fact become a very real thing. And I can't imagine it's not, but again, Google has not started to come out and say, this is exactly how you're going to do it, but they are starting to roll this out in beta. The next big thing that is starting to come out in the world of Google, speaking of which, and on reviews is there's been an issue, and this started ever since COVID, where reviews are not getting found on Google. And these are from people that are actually leaving the reviews, and it's not just you that are probably dealing with it. We deal with it as well here at CGN. And what happens is, as more people start to use the internet and use Google to find companies that they want to work with, and this is especially true in the trades, they're going to Google and seeing what the reviews look like. Well, they have essentially, like spammers out there that you can hire overseas that will generate a bunch of fake reviews for you, whether they're all good reviews or they can generate a bunch of bad ones for your competitors. Google has been trying to do all this spam fighting to keep it as honest as possible. And what is now happening is Google puts through their own like AI and their own algorithm to say, okay, a review just came in for CGN. Let's see if we think it's legit or not. And there's a whole lot of criteria that goes into it of like, did the reviewer that just left the review, are they using a brand new email to leave the review? Because if they're using a brand new email, Google's like, maybe this is somebody that is simply just created an email just to leave this one review. So they take that kind of criteria into it. Or if it's somebody who has left 50 reviews all across the Charlotte area, and then they leave a review for some random company over in Portland, Google again is like, why are they all 50 over here and one's in Portland? What's up with that? So they use their own spam fighting techniques, but they also now have, and they've had this since before COVID, manual actual like reviewers, where people at Google will look and see, are these legit? Are these not legit? And the issue's been that when COVID first came out and everything went to the internet and everybody was staying home, Google got so overwhelmed that they were unable to keep up with all the demand of checking a lot of these reviews. So essentially what they do is they just said, screw it, we're going to go ahead and stop showing all these reviews if we think that they're kind of weird coming in. So as a result, you kind of have to wait for us to manually check it and make sure it's good to go. Well, what Google just came out with was an actual dedicated form to recovering those missing reviews. So what you can do, and we'll link to that form in this in the show notes, because we are going to be using it ourselves because we have a bunch of reviews for CGN, and we have clients that will like, hey, did you leave us a review? And they're like, look, here's the screenshot showing you I left the review. What doesn't show on our end, nor does it show for other people that are searching for CGN. So essentially, we're in the same boat, but you can fill out this form and say, this is what's going on, because Google is now trying to help you out. And, the people that are willing to play ball with them a little bit are going to be the ones that actually can get their reviews back. So this is huge because this has been a big issue since Google started. Like, it's even a joke in the marketing world that if you could figure this thing out, you'd be a millionaire overnight. They even have dedicated companies to this exact thing, which fights, review spam, whether they're showing the reviews or not showing the reviews, things like that. So that's a big thing that is just coming out in the world of Google. Again, we'll link to that link in our show notes. Google officially also came out. I don't think this is like anything groundbreaking, but when it comes to reviews, we also get asked a lot here at CGN, should I incentivize for reviews? Well, Google came out and said, essentially, you can't donate and get a review in return, meaning you couldn't say, hey, I'm going to donate this, extra piece of, I'm going to donate a kitchen remodel to you, and as a result, I want you to leave me a review. They're saying you can't do that, all right? What you can do, though, which is kind of where the confusion comes in, is you can incentivize for reviews, and you can ask nicely. Let me say that again. You cannot incentivize for reviews, so you can't say to Google, or you can't say to people, I will pay you money to leave a review, but you can ask for the review. Yelp has come out and said, and this has always been their thing, you're not even supposed to ask for the review. In fact, Yelp is so big on this that they have these like review and reputation management softwares where if they find out that you're asking all these people for a Yelp review, and they can kind of track it because they can see who's using the software, they can, kind of go after your Yelp account, suspend it, things like that. I'm not personally a big fan of Yelp because I think that the way that they do reviews is not great, where if you have 100 reviews, it always seems like they pick the 5 one-star reviews and you have a 1-star average and they hide the other 95, but that's a different thing. But essentially, Google, you can't incentivize for reviews, and now they've officially come out and said, at the same time, you cannot donate and ask for a review in return because that's essentially the exact same thing. And last thing that I'm going to highlight that is a bigger thing in the world of Google as well is Google is now, again, trying to really confirm and get their brand, their business side of things, like their Google business profile side of things dialed in. So if you get a text from Google that just says, hey, this is Google Maps, can you confirm that this is the right phone number for your company? That is actually Google doing that. I know we all get those spam calls of people saying, look, I just, hey, you haven't gotten your Google business profile verified. Do you want to verify it right now? That is not legit. Google will never ask you to sign up for a service, make a payment, or provide personal information, but they will ask you just to verify some information, and they're doing that currently through text. Google's whole thing is they just want to provide a good experience for people that are searching for, local businesses. And let's say if your business has the wrong phone number and somebody calls and they can't get a hold of you, well, now they start to think, well, maybe Google is not the best way to actually find a local business. Maybe I should just go to Facebook and ask for a recommendation, or maybe Bing has a better way of going about it. So they're making a bunch of updates to the Google business profile. That's like their big thing. They test it a lot. And when you throw the AI side of things in there as well, they're really trying to push the envelope for your GBP. So long story short, if you're a contracting company owner or you run the marketing for your own company, be aware that one, this generative search is starting to really come about where now people are able, not yet, but they're going to start to roll out that they can chat in. And in my mind, in my prediction is that they're going to be able to put their own criteria into Google to say, this is what I'm looking for. What do you got? So the more that you can beef up your brand and beef up your presence, the easier it's going to be for you to get found, because I'm assuming people are not going to say, I need to find somebody that is, below a 3.5-star average. 2, Google is going ahead and adding in a form to recover those lost reviews. We'll put it in our show notes. And then last thing is just, if you get a text from Google, the donation thing is, straightforward. But if you get a text from Google saying, could you please verify this? Let us know. Or is this the right phone number, the right email, the right address, the right name, whatever that is, make sure you go ahead and verify, because the last thing that you want is, because right now what you can do is you can actually go on and make a suggestion for somebody else's Google business profile and say, hey, that's not their phone number. This is somebody else's phone number. They have people out there that is like their entire role is they just go out and like try to spam other people's stuff, and you don't want to be one of those people. So yes, it's another thing to be on top of, but at the end of the day, this is your brand. This is your baby to build. So I hope all that helps. Please let us know if you have insights into what you want to learn more about, of like what's breaking. If it's more, today was all about Google. That's because some big stuff came out on Google. Next time it could be social media. Next time it could be a combination of Google and social media, or it could be something else. Let us know. The best way for us to understand this stuff is to go ahead and reach out and just say, this is what I'd like to hear instead, and we can make sure that we guys get you squared away. So appreciate it. That's all I got for today, and we'll see you on the next episode.